Well, this first song is about a guy I met many years ago when I was tending bar. It's called the Ballad of Johnny K. Well, his skin was cigarette yellow, his hair as white as bone. Eyes set deep in his face, dark pools in a field of stone, and you could hear his chest rattle every time he took a breath. If he'd been any thinner, you'd have said, walking death. Johnny had some long, strange name that nobody could say. He'd laugh when it tied your tongue, said, call me Johnny K. And he'd been at that bar for years, drinking and chain smoking, telling stories of his past, even if no one was listening. Johnny done hard time in prison, murder is what people say. Now he was a janitor. Trump worked for Trump pay, and even a kid like me could see he had no life of his own. Those stories were his friends, that bar stool was his home. He'd say, Scranton, Pennsylvania, 1932, I had a job, I had money, was feeling good. I went to see my baby, and I found another man, and if they hadn't laughed, wouldn't have been all that blood. Well, times got hard for Johnny, couldn't find the air to breathe. So he turned to booze and cigarettes, looking for relief. But he couldn't find any comfort in the old familiar ways. And then we found his life was numbered in days. Well, Johnny kept coming to the bar, though he was hacking his life away. People didn't talk to him much, because what could you say? And some people bought him drinks, though they seemed a little ashamed. Maybe he was too different, maybe too much the same. He'd say Binghamton, New York, 1972, told some lies by some doctors who didn't care. It can't be the cigarettes, and it can't be the booze. It ain't right, God knows it ain't fair. Well, I found Johnny outside one night. I had to help him to his room, a cold and empty place as soulless as a tomb. Blanket on the floor, his bed, his closet was a chair, a water glass, an ashtray, and the smell of despair. He'd say, Scranton, Pennsylvania. Listen, wait. Well, I wanted to run away, because this was something I didn't understand, but Johnny just stood there, an old and broken man, and his eyes were wide and dark, as if he'd gone blind. But now I think it was his fear of leaving such an empty life behind. He'd say, Scranton, Pennsylvania, 1932, I had a job, I had money, that's feeling good. I went to see my baby, and I found another man, and if they hadn't laughed, wouldn't have been all that blood. Well, that was a long time ago, and I've had a life of my own. Good wife, good job, the usual ups and downs, and if people tell me I seem to have done okay, I just smile, let the conversation drift away, because we know there are no promises, not even for today. And I still remember the look in the eyes of Johnny K. Thank you. Well, I think Eddie mentioned